This here is Boom Studios' Go-Go Power Rangers Forever Rangers. It begins 10,000 years ago with Alpha 5 broadcasting a message, informing everyone that Zordon is dead. He says he sacrificed his life to imprison Rita. One of Zordon's last wishes was for Alpha 5 to remain at the defensive outpost on Earth. So this looks like the command center, but it's seriously overgrown. As Alpha's about to complete his message, Zordon appears in his iconic tube. When Alpha asks how it's possible, Zordon tells him that it's because Alpha followed his instructions and activated the temporal beacon, so the time warp transfigured Zordon's consciousness and showed him their true purpose, despite Rita costing Zordon his body. So the time warp showed Zordon his true purpose. That's how he was prepared for almost anything, because he could somewhat see into the future. So he may have even seen his own death coming in Countdown to Destruction. Now we continue from where the last issue of Go-Go Power Rangers left off. Alpha 1 combined with some cars to form a makeshift mecha, and the Rangers were placed in a force field. While Zack tries kicking the force field, Billy is thinking of a way out. Goldar is still around to taunt the Rangers. That is until Jason tells him that if he stays here when Alpha 1 returns, he'll finish what he started. In other words, Goldar will be killed. Goldar would like to be the one to kill all the Rangers, so he uses his sword to break the force field and leaves. That allows the Rangers to escape to fight Alpha 1, so that Goldar can fight the Rangers another day. With the Rangers freed, they call on their Dinozords. At the command center, Alpha 1 is trying to break down the command center's defense. At the moment, a force field is surrounding it. As Alpha 5 tells Zordon their energy reserves are failing, the Rangers' Dinozords arrive on scene. The Rangers choose to take on Alpha 1 in their Zords separately and use the Dino Frenzy formation. A good idea, but Alpha 1 can focus on multiple tasks at once, so he has no problem fighting 5 Zords in a frenzy attack. Alpha 1 manages to pick up the Mastodon and swings it into the Tyrannosaurus. It sends Jason crashing into the side of a cliff. The Dino Frenzy formation didn't work, so the Rangers bring all their Zords together to form the Megazord. And straight away the Power Sword is brought into action. It's the main Megazord finisher, but Alpha 1 has seen this used before, so when the Rangers try to hit Alpha 1 with the sword, he counters. However, the Megazord also has the energy attack from the head, which Alpha 1 wasn't expecting. But even with that, Alpha 1 still manages to get his attacks in and knock down the Megazord. He then picks up the Power Sword and stabs it into the Megazord. The amount of damage caused makes red lights in the Megazord cockpit go off. The Megazord has been crippled. Jason asks Zordon for advice, and he tells him that Alpha 1 is too strong for solo attacks. He wants the Rangers to keep Alpha 1 occupied because he has something Alpha 1 won't see coming. So then the Rangers break apart completely and reform the Megazord tank mode. I'm assuming they completely disassembled because the Megazord was crippled, so it couldn't simply transition into tank mode. Anyway, the tank mode is powered up and immediately goes into firing its cannons at Alpha 1. He fires back though and manages to hit the Rangers. It's fine though, because this is just a tactic to stall for time, because Alpha 1 is busy attacking the Rangers. He therefore doesn't see Alpha 5 flying onto the scene wearing Billy's armor, so the armor does get put to use after all, and Alpha 5 uses it to take on Alpha 1. Alpha 5's attack on Alpha 1 is mostly just a distraction, because it allows the Rangers to roll in with the Megazord tank mode and fire all weapons on Alpha 1. The concentrated blast at close range seemingly destroys Alpha 1. Alpha 5 is down on the ground, and he tells the Rangers he's sorry for breaking Billy's suit. So unless they decide to rebuild it, this might be its last appearance in the comics. Zordon tells the Rangers they need to look for Alpha 1 immediately. As they go through the scrap of what's left of the Alpha 1 mecha, Trini comes across what remains of the Alpha 1 body. Alpha 5 intends to rebuild Alpha 1, but with some modifications, so that Alpha 1 will function the way Zordon would want. However, Alpha 1 tells him that his body is just a shell, and he'll be watching. so Alpha 1 must have uploaded himself to somewhere else. So his shell self-destructs, and that's the end of Alpha 1 for now. Jason asks if everyone is okay, and Trini says she landed on a blade blaster. That must have been painful. Zack says he should have known better because Alpha 1 was creepy looking from the beginning. He has a point. I think anyone would have known something was up based on Alpha 1's menacing look. Anyway, Zack knows he's wrong and Zordon tells the Rangers that Alpha 1 is resilient, so if he returns, they need to be ready. On the moon, Goldeye is back at Rita's palace after fleeing the battle of Alpha 1 and the Rangers. He failed on 2 counts, according to Rita. He didn't find a sacrifice for the Dragon Power Coin, and the fact that he allowed the Rangers to escape, they were able to save Zordon. Goldar tells her it's their war against Zordon and the Rangers, so he didn't want Alpha 1 to rob Rita of that supreme glory. Fiona tells Rita not to hurt Goldar, and there is still mercy in her heart. Rita shows Fiona what she's capable of and rips off Goldar's wings. So the time and circumstances for Goldar losing his wings play out differently to the TV show. Fiona tells Rita that she can help guide her back into the light. Rita, however, has something else in mind. She says that she can't bring back just anyone from the beyond. The spirit must be strong and the soul must be worthy. She intends to use Fiona's life energy to unlock the Dragon Power Coin, thinking that her death will do more for Rita than she did in life. Rita begins the spell and says goodbye to her mother. Before we see Fiona disappear, she says Rita is more than the woman she is today, and someday she will be redeemed. I'm guessing that's in the distant future around the time of Mystic Force, when Rita has already become the Mystic Mother. This is probably what the comic is hinting at, because in Mystic Force, she is practicing good magic instead of evil magic. So that might be a nice little nod to the TV series. So Fiona is gone and the Dragon Power Coin seems to be active as it glows green. Rita tells Goldar to leave, either because she's partly saddened that she finished off her mother, or because she's still angry at Goldar, but partly forgiven him. Now for a little time jump. Several weeks have passed and the events here tie in with the main comic. The news footage shows the Megazord fighting a monster in Italy. That event was a flashback which took place in the main comic, so it was before Tommy joined the team. Trini is assisting Jason in his workout, in preparation for the Karate Expo, where he will eventually fight Tommy. So this is really building up to Tommy joining the team. And as we get closer to that, it looks like Trini has started to grow her hair. So by the time Go-Go Power Rangers catches up to the events of the main comic, Trini will have her classic long-haired look. Anyway, Trini thinks that it's not good to continue her romantic relationship with Jason, because it puts the team at risk. Jason agrees, and the two of them basically end their romance. It was inevitable, and that's why they're not together anymore by the time we get to the events of the main comic. Speaking of the main comic, Zack was approached to be the Green Ranger before Rita had to settle for Tommy. And here we see the moment Zack takes on some putties before eventually being captured. We then move on to Kimberly, who's still hung up over her parents' divorce. She speaks to the school counsellor, who, by the way, seems to be in demand by the Power Rangers in this comic. The counsellor is speaking to Kimberly on her mother's request, because Kimberly refuses to talk to her about the divorce. To keep things short, Kimberly has had enough of her parents acting like children. She thinks divorce is quite simple, and that if you actually care about someone, you just say it. You find a way. The counsellor then asks if she's ever been in a situation where she couldn't tell someone how she really felt. That hits Kimberly because she has been through that before with Matt. So this might be the turning point on how Kimberly deals with the divorce. At the command center, Zack is back and tells Zordon about the offer to become the new Green Ranger. What we didn't see in the main comic was Zordon telling Zack about what he wanted a long time ago. Zordon refused to aid the elders of his world in the fight against evil. He wanted a simple life, to raise a family. That didn't pan out, so when Zordon recruited these 5 teenagers as the Power Rangers, he would break all of his own rules to protect the 5 of them. But in trying to protect the Rangers, he ended up placing them in danger. So Zordon tells Zack it's time he trusted the Rangers the same way they trust him. so Zack and Zordon's relationship isn't as frosty as the previous issues. That was a nice expansion on what we saw in the main comic. This page was rather fun as we get towards the bottom. It says Kimberly was voted most likely to win a Pan-Global medal in the yearbook. Well, in the future she does leave the Power Rangers to compete in the Pan-Globals. And when asked what she would say to her future self, she put "nice haircut." That's because she basically did that when she met her future self, the Ranger Slayer, in Shattered Grid. Kimberly then sees Matt at his locker, so she walks over to him, gives him a hug and apologizes. Matt also apologizes, and that's that. So are they friends on good terms now, or what? Over to Trini and Billy now, and Trini's hair is still growing. She is transitioning into the Trini we know. The question for Billy in the yearbook was, "What's your commute?" His answer, "I wish I could teleport." If only the other students knew that he does teleport. He was also voted most likely to invent the next smartphone. Well, there is the communicator. Trini's answer of "the moon" is in response to what her top travel destination is, because that's exactly what she did in an earlier issue of Go-Go Power Rangers. And she said her favourite colour is red instead of yellow. Obviously she likes Jason. This yearbook element is quite fun. Anyway, they're interrupted by Bulk and Skull because they're making videos now and want Billy to give an interview for their new video channel, Ranger Station. So this is their new venture, but it's not the first time we've heard of this because it was introduced right at the beginning of the main comic. It is fun seeing Go-Go Power Rangers lead us into the main comics. On to Zack now, and he's asked by Angela whether he's going to the Karate Expo. It's great to see Angela, and it's also good that she approached Zack and not being frosty towards him, like most of the time on the TV show. And the funniest part about the yearbook entry for Zack is when asked what's the best school rumour. He said, "The Power Rangers go here." Now we go to the Karate Expo and Jason is preparing for the fight. The funniest of his yearbook entries is his answer to his first car. He said knowing his parents it will be a dinosaur. He did pilot a dinosaur first. And asked where he'll be in 5 years, he said it doesn't matter as long as his friends are with him. This is kind of sad to read because in the TV series timeline, 5 years from now means that Jason's already left the Mighty Morphin team and also the Zeo team. So he may not have his Ranger friends with him by that point. Anyway, it's time for the fight to commence, so Jason readies himself as he goes on to fight Tommy. So that's the end of Forever Rangers. The first half was good as it concluded the Alpha 1 story. For now anyway. It was a nice ending to that story, as we got the typical Megazord action sequence, but it was especially good to see the tank mode put to good use, and defeating an enemy with it. The second half of the comic was also good, but for a different reason. Whilst not a lot happens, it's great to see some character development, and how the events of Go-Go Power Rangers and the main comic are bridged in this latter half of the comic. I wonder how things will pan out from here.